The line at Starbucks was a snake, coiling around the counter, hissing with impatience. HOA Karen's sisters, all 300 pounds of her, stood at its head, tapping her bedazzled nails like a war drum. She'd been coming to this Starbucks for years, always with the same order: a grande cappuccino, extra foam, exactly 2 pumps of vanilla. To her, the baristas were cogs in her personal coffee machine, and today they'd failed her. The drink in her hand was an insult, a sugary betrayal that burned her tongue and her pride. She leaned over the counter, her voice a blade slicing through the morning chatter. "This is disgusting. Too sweet. Do you people even know how to make coffee?" The barista, a 20-something named Mia with a tired smile, tried to stay calm. "I'm so sorry, ma'am. Let me remake it for you." Her hands moved to grab a fresh cup, but HOA wasn't having it. Her eyes narrowed, lips curling into a sneer that screamed she was better than everyone in the room. "Remake it? You think I have time for your incompetence?" she spat, her voice loud enough to turn heads. A man in a suit glanced up from his laptop. A teenage girl with earbuds pulled one out, sensing the storm brewing. HOA's tirade grew louder, a performance for the audience she'd gathered. "I'm a paying customer. I deserve respect." She gestured wildly, her oversized purse swinging like a wrecking ball. Mia, still holding the empty cup, opened her mouth to respond, but HOA cut her off. "Don't talk back to me. You're nothing but a glorified coffee pourer." The cafe fell silent, the air thick with tension. Mia's face flushed, but she kept her voice steady. "Ma'am, please lower your voice. I'll fix your order." "Fix it?" HOA laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "You can't fix stupid." And then, in a moment that seemed to slow time, she raised her cappuccino and flung it. The cup arced through the air, coffee erupting in a brown cascade that splashed across Mia's apron, the counter, and the pastries in the display case. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The man in the suit stood up, his phone already out, recording. The teenage girl's jaw dropped, her earbud dangling like an afterthought. Mia stumbled back, wiping coffee from her face, her eyes wide with shock. "What the hell?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. But HOA wasn't done. She leaned forward, jabbing a finger at Mia. "You deserve that. Maybe next time you'll listen." The man in the suit, whose name was David, had seen enough. He stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Lady, that's assault. You need to leave." HOA whipped around, her face a mask of indignation. "Assault? Me? I'm the victim here. This place is a scam." The teenage girl, Lily, found her voice. "You're a bully," she said, her tone sharp. "You can't just throw stuff at people." HOA turned on her, eyes blazing. "Stay out of this, kid. Go back to your TikTok." But the crowd was turning. Murmurs of agreement rose, a low hum of dissent. David was already on the phone with the police, his voice steady as he described the scene. Mia, still dripping with coffee, looked at HOA with a mix of anger and pity. "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. "I was trying to help." HOA scoffed, crossing her arms. "Help? You're lucky I don't sue this place for emotional distress." She was so wrapped up in her own narrative that she didn't notice the shift in the room, the way people were closing in, their phones out, their whispers turning to accusations. She didn't see the manager, a wiry man named Carlos, emerge from the back, his face set in a grim line. "Ma'am," Carlos said, his voice cutting through the noise. "You need to leave now, or I'm calling the police." HOA laughed again, but it was weaker this time, less certain. "Go ahead. They'll side with me. I'm the customer." Carlos didn't blink. "They're already on their way." The words hit HOA like a slap. For the first time, her smug mask cracked, revealing a flicker of uncertainty. She opened her mouth to argue, but the crowd was done with her. "Get out," someone shouted from the back. "You're a disgrace," said another. Lily, emboldened, stepped closer. "You think you're better than everyone, but you're just mean." HOA's face reddened, her hands clenching into fists. She wanted to scream, to lash out, but the weight of the room's judgment pinned her in place. She grabbed her purse, muttering about lawsuits and bad reviews, and stormed toward the door. But it was too late. Blue lights flashed outside, and two officers stepped into the cafe, their presence silencing the crowd. "Ma'am," the first officer said, a woman with a no-nonsense stare. "We need to talk about what happened here." HOA's bravado crumbled. "This is a misunderstanding," she stammered. "They messed up my order." The officer raised an eyebrow, glancing at Mia's soaked apron and the coffee-stained counter. David handed over his phone, the video already queued up. "It's all here," he said. The teenage girl nodded, her own phone out, her video ready to corroborate. As the officers cuffed HOA, her protests grew shrill. "You can't do this. I'm a loyal customer. I'll have your badges." But the crowd wasn't listening. They were clapping not for the arrest, but for Mia, who stood behind the counter, wiping her face with a towel, her dignity intact. The officers led HOA out, her head bowed, her purse dragging on the floor. The cafe erupted in chatter, a mix of relief and disbelief. Mia, still shaken, managed a small smile as Carlos handed her a clean apron. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah," she said, her voice steadying. "Just another day, right?" David approached the counter, his expression soft. "You handled that better than I would have. Coffee's on me." Lily, lingering nearby, chimed in. "You're kind of a hero, you know." Mia laughed, a real laugh, the kind that breaks tension like glass. "Just doing my job." Outside, HOA sat in the back of the police car, her face a storm of humiliation and rage. She'd come to Starbucks for a coffee, not a reckoning. But the world had watched, and the world had judged. Her name would be a hashtag by noon, a cautionary tale trending on X. She'd wanted to be seen, to be feared, but all she'd done was show who she really was, a woman so consumed by her own entitlement that she'd forgotten how to be human. The cafe returned to its rhythm, the line moving again, the hum of conversation rising. Mia took the next order, her hands steady, her smile back in place. David and Lily stayed, sipping their drinks, talking about what they'd witnessed. They didn't know each other, but for a moment, they were connected, bound by the shared victory of standing up to a bully. HOA's cappuccino cup lay on the floor, a sticky reminder of her downfall. Carlos swept it up, tossing it into the trash with a shake of his head. "Some people," he muttered, "never learn. And in the end, they don't." Karma doesn't always come in handcuffs, but for HOA Karen's sisters, it came close enough. The crowd had seen her for what she was, and the world wouldn't forget. Sometimes, the bitterest brew is the one you serve yourself. The end.